Okay. Hello. Welcome to my first YouTube live, I think. Um, I'm going to wait for a few minutes to see if anybody actually comes to this. So, yeah, I think I have one person. Who do I have? It says one, so we'll see. Okay, it is 10 o'clock on the dot. Hi, I do have one person. Yes, yes. My name is Lauren Stowell. I'm the co-founder and CEO of American Duchess Inc., which sounds really fancy. I founded a footwear company that makes historic shoes with my now husband back in 2011. And I wanted to come on live today to take questions. Hi, everybody. Oh, you guys actually came. This is awesome. To take questions about how the pandemic is affecting us as well as other small businesses. And I'm actually really nervous for this. I don't really like to talk about vulnerabilities. I don't like to be a Debbie Downer, if you will. It's hard to like. I just don't want to bring you guys down. So I've kind of come up with like a list of points to talk about for anybody else that is a small business that might be feeling kind of like I feel or have been feeling, which is like some maybe like some actionable things that you can do that I've done that have helped me to feel better and a little bit more in control and in control that might help. So you guys are I wow, 35 people. Okay. If you have questions anytime, stick them in the comment box over there or there. I don't know if I'm mirrored, but over there. And I'll answer them. So I want this to be kind of interactive. I've been on so many Zoom meetings in the last 4 weeks that it feels weird to be talking to myself, basically. So please, to not see anybody else on the screen. So please put the questions in the comment box. Somebody said on Facebook to please turn on closed captioning for the live, and I looked up how to do it, and I don't know. I don't think I can do it actually on here. So I'm really sorry. But afterwards, this video is going to stay on the newsfeed, YouTube. It's going to stay on our channel, and then I'll turn on the closed captioning so people can watch it later. They just won't be able to ask the questions live, so they can do it in the comment box. Okay. All right. So I think again, like just go ahead and ask away, but I'm going to kind of like hit my points here. To start off with, in February, four of us, so me, Chris, Matt, and Nicole, went to Portugal to source some factories, which we did find. So we're trying to move our production to Portugal. And after we were done with our trip in Portugal, Chris and I went down to the Canary Islands to have a little bit of a vacation. And as we were there, all of this started to unravel. So we did get home around March 6th and all relaxed and lovely. And it was just straight into like COVID-19. And about a week after that came kind of like the first wave of what I would call panic in the US. For those of you who don't know, I'm in the US. So everything I talk about as far as like SBA loans and whatnot is US based. So when I say the panic, I mean the stock market crashed in a spectacular fashion. There's been panic buying. So the shelves of grocery stores, anywhere that sells toilet paper, rice, beans, potatoes, canned soup, was pretty much empty. I'm sure all of you have seen that, have experienced that. And Nevada, where we are based, is not on a shelter in place. Our neighbors next door in California are. So we are not. Las Vegas, I think, either needs to be or is, but Reno is not. And we don't have a lot of cases in Reno, which is great. But for the most part, everybody's, I hope, staying home. I haven't really left my house in 4 weeks. Um, I'm laughing about it so I don't cry. We shut our office down. We have one person packing in our warehouse by herself 3 days a week. We put a mail hold on so that we could receive the returns and exchanges, and then we let them sit for a little while so that nobody gets infected because the virus can apparently live on cardboard for 24 hours. So we just let them sit overnight. Hi, everybody. And then we process the returns on Friday. So we are still shipping, but nobody is in the office collectively. So Abby, Nicole, Chrissy, Matt, me, Chris, we are all working from home, and we are all still working. The biggest thing is that when this started, my biggest panic was, oh my God, how do we keep everybody on payroll? How do we keep everybody working? And at the time, there was nothing at all for a safety net for businesses that had to lay people off or furlough people. And for those people, we have an unemployment system, but at the time, it was kind of a little. It's not really meant for this kind of thing. Nothing's meant for this kind of thing. I have not laid anybody off. Everybody's still working. I've reduced my salary, but nobody else's. Everybody is still working. And the reason that I could do that without losing my mind, and I'm not going to lie, like this has been super scary waking up every morning feeling ill, kind of going, well, I woke up again. Here I am. Okay, got to deal with another day. How are we going to get through this? We lost about 70% of our business over 2 or 3 days a few weeks ago. So combine that with we had a spectacular fall last year revenue wise. We did an amazing Christmas, thanks to you guys. So we had a bit of a cushion, which honestly, if we hadn't had a good Christmas last year, this would be harder. So we had some cash, and I was able to plug that in and look to my cash flow, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, and look ahead, tell the future, if you will, whatever small future I had a little bit of control over projecting for. And I could see how long we could survive given the money that we did have. And I decided not to lay anybody off. And that is number one for me. Our company is about people. It's about customers and employees. I want to make a lovely work environment for people. And I don't consider people expendable, especially the amazing people that work for American Duchess. Everybody that works for American Duchess is highly specialized and very unique in the world. And so my crash plan never really included like wholesale. Sometimes you hear like cut fast, cut deep, cut wide. And it's talking about people. You hear that in relation to businesses when they go through crisis. And that's just not something that I abide by. I don't believe in that. So, captain goes down with the ship, I guess, but we're not going down yet. We're not going down yet. Okay, so again, if you have questions, stick them in the comment box and I'll just answer them as we go along. So my 4 points of small business survivability during COVID-19, and the only reason I feel okay talking about this, and I didn't really sleep last night because I'm so nervous about talking about this live. Okay, Gaucho, you can just leave right now. So I'm not going to answer that question. The only reason I feel comfortable talking about this is because some of these things that I'm going to tell you about seem to have worked, at least for now, and I feel okay about us getting through this. The first thing in my 4 points is connection. So connecting to your community. We have a fantastic, close-knit, and caring community in the historical costuming and theatrical world. The first thing that I did was I got on Instagram and I got on Facebook and I started watching people's stories and reading their comments and reading their posts and sharing our own stories with small business shout outs, because I knew that if we were like tanking, then everybody else is too. USITT was canceled, all the theaters are closed, all the events have been canceled. And that takes a massive, massive chunk out of the reason that people buy historic reproduction goods, whether those are shoes, stockings, buckles, corsets, jewelry, really anything that you accessory that you wear. All of us have just like just business just gone. But what I could do and what we could do and what we did do and are doing is we could share about not about the negative impact, not about like, oh my god, you guys, everything's horrible, but just sending some good vibes out into the world and giving small business shout outs to other businesses that I know are dealing with the same kind of like complete drop in revenue, that's so scary. Businesses like Red Threaded and Burnley and Trowbridge, and performers and artists like Dandy Wellington who have lost all their gigs. I can't necessarily fix the situation for them, of course, but I can at least make people more aware of those little companies that I love and I, shop from and support. And that's really helped, talking to people about how they're feeling and how things are going. And then also trying to help with things like patterns. Like we put out a cape pattern for free because I know everybody's at home sewing things, and so I thought, okay, let's put something out there, to help people and to we can all make it AD Cape Cult and feel, solidarity in that way. So we're trying to do anything that we can to help people. Okay, I think I have some comments. I wasn't gonna read this out loud, but he's just taking the piss. Does condom use prevent coronavirus contamination during sexual intercourse? I don't know. I wouldn't try that with a stranger. I don't know, dude. You could just leave now, please. Uh, KZ is MB cosplay. Okay, my family runs a gallery and rents out spaces to other artists. Even diversifying doesn't seem to be helping at the moment. Diversifying is on my list of things to talk about. So, the second thing I want to talk about, which is probably the most, I mean, it's not as feel good, but it's cash. We're going to talk about cold hard cash. So anybody that owns a business in here or knows people that own a business, I'm going to get really real about money right now, because the only thing that's really going to save small businesses right now is money. That sounds cold, and in our world where we hate business and think that all CEOs are evil, um, please don't mistake me. Like, small business owners need money too. The second thing I did after connecting with the community is I went to my cash flow projection. Sometimes this is called a budget. It's something that you can run as an individual, just your family, just you, or you can run it as a small business. And I really, really recommend this. It's a spreadsheet. This isn't Zoom, so I can't share my screen right now, but it's a spreadsheet that basically very simply looks at what money you have coming in each month and what money you have going out each month. That's its simplest form. It's to track your expenses, and you can use this to kind of predict the future. So based on averages. So I do this every month. I go to all my bank statements and I enter every single transaction. Anybody who has accounting background is going to know this. Every transaction. And so I have real numbers, and then I kind of look at the trends, or I average things out over a period of time so I can predict what things like utilities are going to cost further down the line. Sometimes you have a fixed cost like rent, you definitely put that in. Payroll, I stick that in there. Every expense I'm planning for, such as purchasing more inventory or running more advertising or whatever it may be, when I know that I'm going to have an expense, I estimate what it's going to be and I stick it in to that month. Then I I have a revenue line, so I look at, okay, how much money do I think the business is going to bring in a given month? And there's trends across the year. So April, for instance, is usually a really big month for us because the theaters are all ordering stuff for their first season of shows. October is the other one. But April this year, uh, given that all the theaters are closed, has sucked. March was really low. Like I said, we had about 70% drop just off a cliff. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough revenue to meet payroll and rent and my expenses that I can't stop without making some serious cuts. So I plug those numbers in and I can go down the whole year looking at scenarios. So, for instance, let's say we made $100,000 in April. How is that going to affect July? How is that going to affect August? Or, oh my God, we made $10,000 in April. Wow, how is that going to affect, further down the line? It's a tool to help you see in good times, woo, yeah, we made a net profit this year. Okay, we have enough money that we can invest here, or we can invest in a bigger order. I can hire a new employee. Or like we have now, holy crap, pandemic, 70% of revenue gone. When am I going to run out of money? And that's the big question right now is when am I going to run out of money as a business? When can I no longer buy inventory or pay people? And then you can start to plug in things like loans, lines of credit. Let's say you have a better month than you thought. Let's say you're planning to run a sale and you can see how that affects your runway. So what we're calling runway is how long do you have before you run out of money. I cannot recommend setting up one of these spreadsheets enough. It took me a long time to do this. I only started doing this last year around this time. I had sort of ideas. I could look at my bank account before then, but when I was hiring employees, we now have 7 employees, including Chris and myself. I had to get more organized and be a little bit more like level up the business. I'm not going to say more serious because I've always been serious, but level up the business. And I needed to start pitching to banks to secure funding to do bigger things, bigger orders or change factories or whatever we wanted to do. And I had to do these cash flow projections. If you go into Google Sheets or Excel, I know Google Sheets definitely has them. There are lots of templates for these. Sometimes they're called budgets. Sometimes they're called, cash flow projection or cash flow chart. Just get one of those and start filling it in. It doesn't have to be for a business. It can be for your personal as well. It can help you tell the future, and helping you tell the future or run different scenarios helps you feel in control. It helps me feel in control. Even if the news isn't good, I at least know, okay, it's looking like we're going to come up 20 grand short. How do we generate that money? Where can we find that? Is it going to be in sales? Is it going to be in a diversified income stream, which I'll talk about in a minute, or do I have to get a loan for that? I have some questions over here on the sides. So, okay. I'm expecting there are some questions about restocking. I haven't really touched on that yet, so I'm just going to kind of divert off for a second. Obviously, because the world is shut down right now, we are having some supply chain issues. So everything that we had planned to do has been delayed. Some of the styles that we showed or have shown before that we've said this is coming in fall, this is coming in spring, they're not anymore. So we're trying our best to get something, anything, preferably restocks of the most popular styles for fall. But to be completely honest, it's really slow moving. We were retooling and changing our manufacturing anyway. So we have this plan to move from manufacturing in China to manufacturing in Portugal. So I was there in February. And that already takes time and like long lead times for prototyping, redoing the heel molds, getting the last just right, even on stuff that we've already done before, where we have like, here's a Londoner, please reproduce this. It's still a long process. And then you throw in a pandemic on top of that, and it's when are we going to get prototypes? I don't really know. When are we going to make that order? Not sure. When's it going to arrive? Don't really know. So the intention is to restock, especially since you guys cleared us out of most of our most popular stuff. Kensington, Astoria, Londoner specifically were really, really popular over Christmas last year, which was awesome. So awesome. But it leaves us in this sticky situation where I can't restock right now. And that's the stuff that we really need. So we're trying. There is a little bit of a stressful situation where it's like, oh, okay, we're going to run out of inventory. Then we're not going to be able to make money. And then I can't buy new stuff. And that's another bridge that I get to cross in the future. But we're working on it. So to answer everybody's question about, are we going to restock this or are we going to restock that? Are there new men's shoes coming? The answer to all of that is yes. It's just I don't really know when. Marley says, hello from Alabama. Thank you so much for being so real about what's going on for small business owners. You're welcome. This is hard. I don't like to show my vulnerabilities, but I'm doing it. So you got questions, I got answers. I'm not going to hide anything from you guys. May says, are the new small business loans terms that just became available helping at all? Great segue. So we're still on my second point, which is cash, cash, cash. Cash is king. You want cash. Right now, a lot of people's money, our money, everybody's money is tied up in different things. So if you're an inventory-based business, most of your money is tied up in inventory, the thing that you sell. To give you an idea, we have thousands of pairs of shoes sitting in our warehouse, which is normally great, except when there's no demand for shoes because all of our investment is in shoes. So I can't use shoes to pay rent. I can't use shoes to pay employees as much as they're like, here, have some shoes. It's not going to pay their rent or their mortgages either. So number one priority is how to sell the inventory when there is very little demand for it. A lot of other people's capital is tied up in like the stock market, which crashed spectacularly. So when I say cash is king, it's something we say in the business world. It just means that sitting on like literally under your mattress or in your bank account, sitting on actual money that you can pay for goods and services and pay your employees and your rent with is king right now. So the next question is you're short on cash because you're not selling your product. So how do you get cash? One of my mentors who is brilliant with money has told me over the years, always try to raise capital before you need it. And when times are good and we're all grasshoppers, it's like, I don't need that credit line. Whatever, we're doing fine. I can just do it all in cash flow. And then you have a pandemic and it's like, oh shit. The very, very first thing I did is I went to PayPal Working Capital. I pulled everything out of PayPal Working Capital that I could before they froze those loans. I know that American Express used to offer a small business loan. Now they don't. It's gone. I waited too long to pull that. As far as the SBA stuff goes, this is specific to the United States, guys. I don't know if the UK or Europe has anything like this going on. I would assume so because the US is like the caboose on this train. The SBA offers a couple of things for small business. The first is the EIDL loan. That's a disaster relief loan. And the second is the new PPP. So that stands for Paycheck Protection Plan program or plan. Doesn't really matter. PPP. And that's an interesting one because we just did the paperwork for this. I did the paperwork 2 Fridays ago. It was a shit show. The banks are really struggling because the government hasn't really given a lot of advice. There's no structure to it. And so everybody's bank seems to be handling it differently. I signed the loan approval papers digitally on Saturday night. So I guess we're getting it. It's sort of like when the fat lady sings when it's actually in the account. So what this is, the PPP gives you 8 weeks of payroll coverage. It does a calculation, or you do the calculation based on your 2019 payroll costs, which has its own pitfalls. For instance, if you happen to hire somebody in January or February, it doesn't appear, like I did, it doesn't appear to cover that person, but it does give you 2.5 times your average payroll cost per month for 2019. So it's meant to keep you from having to lay people off for the next 2 months, assuming that we're going to be done with this in 2 months, which everybody has a different opinion on. But it's something, the best thing about the PPP is that it is a forgivable loan. So it's basically a grant. If you don't lay people off, you can use that money, and it is forgivable to pay payroll, rent, or mortgage on commercial space. There's something else too, like healthcare costs. If you cover healthcare for your employees, like we do, anything associated with that. It's not forgivable if you go and buy inventory with it, for instance, or you pay your debts with it, or you lay everybody off and then like leave, I don't know, go camping for a month. So if you have a small business, then you have employees, definitely apply through your bank if they're handling SBA loans for the PPP. We got it. It is a huge relief. It's not a huge amount of money in the long run. It's not meant to last, for the whole year. It's meant to last for like 2 months, but it is a relief. And I plugged that number into my cash flow projection, and I was able to see, okay, that did buy us a couple of months on the back end before I have to react again. The other thing with money, I talked about pulling credit lines. Lines of credit where they're kind of like credit cards, but with lower interest rates through banks. They can be frozen, they can be pulled. So I've removed all the money from our lines of credit and I'm holding on to it so that I have the cash if I need it. And the next big thing for cash is that we ran a sale, which we're running now. And we were going to run it anyway, our spring cleaning sale. We do it every year. It's done really well, which is super heartening because that, more than anything else, has given us more time on the back end of this. That more than anything else. So we've sold through a lot of the stale inventory. I call it stale inventory, but you guys are my customers, so this sounds weird. But things that are older styles that don't move as quickly, that aren't as popular as things like Kensington or Astoria, especially a lot of the Royal Vintage rubber soled shoes. And that's generated enough capital to get us through the next few months. In combination with the PPP loans and the lines of credit, it looks like we're going to be okay for a while till the end of the year. Then I get to deal with some other problems later. Hopefully by then, this problem of going outside and catching a virus, spreading it to your family and then dying, hopefully that will be gone. Okay, I have a lot of comments on the side here. So I'm going to scroll back up. Okay. Knowledge is power. Yes, Rebecca, most definitely. Far better than sticking your head in the sand. Yes, I'm there are days where it's bad and I'm just like I can't function. But the only way that I feel okay about surviving this is by doing. I'm such a doer, and so I want to get stuck in and I want to do things so that I can feel like I have some control over our destiny. And there's also people that rely on us for their mortgages and their paychecks. So I can't stick my head in the sand, and that's a lot of responsibility and it's a lot of pressure. But I do it for them more than I do it for myself, really. Roseanne says, as long as I am still working, I will still support small business, and yours is one of. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you know your max burn rate, all payable funds, Sarah says, you can figure your runoff. You called it runway, small business loans. Yeah, Sarah, I was talking about cash flow projection. It's a tool, exactly. what you're saying, to know how fast you're going through money, where you can make cuts. Maybe like we don't have any advertising budget for March and April or moving forward because it's one of those expenses. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to spend money on advertising when I'm worried about making payroll. Um, why do I have spammy, nasty men comments in here? The Velvet Lounge Life says, idea, create a live stream where you showcase 15 to 20 items you have in stock. Perhaps if people understood those items better, they would purchase them to generate income. Oh, and offer a discount. Velvet Lounge Life, great segue into the last point, not the last point, the third point I have, which is diversifying your income. But I'll talk about that more in a second. Katya says, where'd your comment go? Understandable. Businesses need hard data to function. Yeah, very true. Hunches are not enough while making forecasts. I used to run everything on hunches, and then it just got too big. And usually my hunches were wrong. So we have all kinds of spreadsheets now to help me make decisions. And they're invaluable. Honestly, they just need updating on a regular basis. Saying that money is not important, such a foolish statement. Very true. Money is the lifeblood of a small business. Thinkful. My husband has, over the last several years, bought 10 pairs of your beautiful shoes for me. I wore Roxy for my wedding. We will always support you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Joy says there's a lot of info and help available through your state SBDC. Super true. I've worked with the Small Business Development Center up at University of Nevada. One of my favorite people in the world, Rod Jorgensen, helped me. I've done 2 SBA loans, regular small business loans, before the PPP. So I was very familiar with cash flow projections and the absolute mountain of paperwork that a normal SBA loan takes in the amount of time. So when the SBA disaster and PPP loans were proposed, I was like, oh my God, it's going to take like a month to just do the paperwork. So the speed at which they've been enacted, I know it's a bit panicky, and the portals for most banks have had some trouble. There's a huge demand, but we were approved in about a week and a day from the time that I, filled out the application in sheer terror, a week and a day ago. So that is so fast. That is so fast for anything from the government to be funded. And it is a huge help. It is a huge help. No matter how it's all rolling down, it is an emergency measure that's been enacted very, very quickly. So it's a skeleton. It's going to have its issues, but I am so thankful for that money because it keeps us working and keeps us operating, at least for a little while. So Therese says, do the YouTube videos help the company? Okay, so I'm going to talk about diversification because this is something everybody can do. So let's say you have a historic footwear business, or maybe it's corsets, or maybe it's jewelry, and you've lost all of your revenue because people don't buy corsets or shoes, expensive accessory items that are non-essential during a pandemic. So what do? Diversify your income. This feels like maybe a little bit too little too late, but it's something, and it helps me feel like we're moving forward. When I say diversify your income, you could call it putting all of your eggs in one basket, as in like, don't do that. So Easter eggs, multiple baskets. The way that we're trying to diversify is we sell more than just shoes. We have physical items at different price points and different purposes. So we have shoes, stockings, buckles. We also have sewing patterns and books, which have done really, really well. We keep having to reorder more simplicity patterns because people are at home sewing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be physical products. So YouTube, we are on it with the YouTube. So everybody is filming stuff. I've gotten back into editing. I'm cutting stuff together. There's a long time commitment, and there's a learning curve. And I know Rebecca knows there's a learning curve on doing videos. But if you can consistently put out videos on your channel, and to monetize your YouTube channel, you need to have 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe. 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So we've been monetized for a while, but we haven't really put a lot of resource into making YouTube videos, especially long form YouTube videos. And the reason for that is simply because we were really, really busy running the shoe company. And now the shoe company's like, so YouTube. So we're kicking out YouTube videos. We don't really make a lot of money on YouTube videos. We make about $100 a month, but that's more than zero. On YouTube videos, you can also put affiliate links. So if you have done a sewing video, you can sign up for an Amazon Stripe affiliate account, and you can put the links to the tools in there. Again, it's not that much money, but these things build up over time. Digital products like sewing patterns and anything that can be downloaded without somebody having to go out or somebody have to order. They don't have to be free. I know that Wearing History has put out a lot of new digital patterns, and I haven't checked in with Lauren Marangola, but I really hope that they're doing really well for her. We put out a cape pattern for free, and people are making it, and they look amazing, and it makes me feel really good. So that's another way that you can diversify your income for unpredictable situations. And the last one that I have on my list is Patreon. We have a Patreon. We didn't really ever push it before. I know that Red Threaded, Dandy Wellington, and a few others have Patreons or are starting Patreons. If you're not familiar with Patreon, it is a monthly subscription to support an artist or a content creator. I guess you would call us content creators. It goes anywhere. It depends on, it's sort of like Kickstarter, but subscription. It goes anywhere from like $1 up to $20, $50. It depends on the creator. So we have, really low tiers, and we have, I think that our best tier is the $20 tier, because we do a private Facebook group. We put out videos early and podcasts early. We do Patreon only content. We release patterns to Patreon only. And again, it's not a huge amount of money every month. It's building, though, and I cannot thank you guys enough for supporting our Patreon. I know that buying a $165 pair of shoes right now, when many of us haven't even worn shoes for a month, is not something that seems to be happening. And I completely understand that. I've definitely cut back my spending a lot, simply because it's like, I can't justify that right now. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But I have upped my Patreon subscribers, not subscribers, subscribes, the patrons that I support, because I can give something and I can help in some way. And Patreon's power is, even if it's $1 a month, if everybody that followed us or followed Red Threaded or followed Dandy Wellington gave $1 a month, that would be enough for all of us to survive this month to month, to make payroll, whatever it may be. We have 104,000 104,000 followers on Instagram. If every one of them gave $1, we'd have $104,000, and this would be a very different talk right now. So if you check out Patreon and you find, people that you want to support, if you can support, it is a huge help, especially during this time. And so many of us are just pouring it in with the content, because we're all at home and we want to stay connected. And it's like, here's a video, here's a podcast, here's another video, here's a pattern, here, make this for free. You want a pin? I can ship you a pin. Like, have a coupon. Like, that is one way to diversify income and give back at the same time. Okay, some comments. Simona, can one pre-order out of stock items to be shipped when they will become available again? So that's actually a really good idea. I'm not sure if we could do it as simply as that, because I don't know when those items are coming back into stock. So usually when we run a pre-order, I try to have the wait time as short as possible. When we get to about 8 weeks, people start wondering. And when we get to 12 weeks, people are like, where are my shoes? But during this interesting time in world history, I will discuss that with the ladies and see what they think about that, because that is a really good idea for things that we definitely know we are going to restock. We just don't know when. Susan says, Lauren, your courage to be honest and so transparent, as difficult as it is very gratifying and uplifting. I so admire you and your business. Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much. This is hard. to talk about. But I think being honest about what's going on and how it's impacting our community is important. I'm in a business group, EO, and I had a meeting. My voice is cracking. I had a meeting with them last week, and one of the things that came up is, are you communicating effectively? And I thought it meant, are you communicating with your team? And I thought, oh yeah, we talk every day on Hangouts. That yeah, we're solid. And then I realized that it also meant, are you communicating with your community? And I thought, no, not really. I haven't really been open about how this is all going down. I know other business owners are hurting. I have talked to other business owners. And so I think actually talking about what the heckity heck is going on, and my fears too, and ways that I've felt better. I hope it helps you guys, anybody that's feeling this way. We're all in this together, but our experiences on a smaller level are different. There's people who are first responders and they're in the hospitals and they're working. There's like, holy cow. There's people who work for grocery stores, uh, essential businesses who are also on the front lines, and their experience, while the same, is also different from ours. There's people who have been laid off. There's small business owners that we're scrambling around looking for any way to keep our employees on. I mean, it's important to know the other perspectives and to appreciate them. So thank you for listening to me while I go on and on and on about this. Time Smith, Rebecca says, you guys give so much to your Patreon community, and we're trying to give more. So we have a lot in the works. Scott says, patterns for men's shirts, vests, and jackets with alteration tips for fitting them on women. That's a great idea. We actually have a men's shirt pattern available on Patreon now, that Nicole did, and I don't know if there's tips for doing that for women, but you can just scale it down a little bit or wear it big, for like doing like a habit shirt. So I will add these things to the list, because I know Nicole was in the Facebook group the other day asking for ideas for patterns. May says, everyone is going through this. Don't let talking about it with us stress you out. I'm just a little bit sweaty right now. Oh, okay. How do I get rid of somebody? There's like crazy person. Oh, there we go. Remove, alter, ich bin Gil. Pornography. Okay. Oh, come back. Okay. All right. So I've hit on connecting with the community. I've hit on cash flow. I've hit on diversifying. And my last point is scenarios and looking ahead. This is a hard one because we don't know what's going to happen. Things change multiple times a day, day-to-day basis. Man, 2 weeks ago feels like there's so many memes going around about how long March was, and like the long March. Like, oh my God, yeah, March lasted forever. And things changed so quickly. But we have to look ahead, at least just a little bit. A lot of what I spend my time doing and stressing over is if this, then that. If this, then that. And that's where the cash flow projection helps. But a lot of it is like, okay, what if we run out of inventory? Do I have enough money to reorder inventory, enough inventory to sell enough at a given turn rate to pay people? Okay, I have the PPP loan now. How long will it last? When do I run out of money? And what do I do then? How do I generate money then? Like, what's coming down the pipe? Some of these things we can predict, and some of them we can't. We don't know when the pandemic will end. We don't know when businesses will be able to go back to normal. We don't really know, in America anyway, we don't really know what our government is going to roll out or not. On a very personal level, you don't know if you're going to get sick or your family members are going to get sick. You don't know if you're going to have a hospital space or be able to pay for it, especially in the United States. And that stuff is terrifying. It really is. It's super terrifying. So in my mind, I think, all right, let's say everything goes back to normal. Then how do I move forward? let's say things don't go back to normal for 6 months. Let's say things don't go back to normal for 12 to 18 months. Are we going to survive that? What is life after American Duchess Footwear Company look like for me? That's a dark thought. What if the company does actually fail? What if we have to close footwear? How do I make money? How do I stay living in my house? Really dark thoughts. But some of them are again, it helps to think about. It helps to put down on paper maybe a little bit of like, all right, it's like choose your own shitty adventure. Barring zombies coming down from the sky and eating people, like at some point I hope that the future is going to look different, but at some point it's like, okay, how how do we move forward with generating money to live? How do I keep my employees working? What's going to happen? This here I am being I'm being a Debbie Downer again. Um, but this is the hard stuff, and it's just finding a way through it. It's finding a way through it. It's using those other things I talked about with cash flow and diversifying your income streams to find a way through it. So right now we are just like on the YouTube videos. Maybe that will generate enough income someday if we have hundreds of thousands of subscribers like Bernadette does. Maybe it's worth putting in the work now since we're all at home, to hopefully lay some groundwork in case footwear doesn't work in our future world. It's a hard thing to talk about. American Duchess as a shoe company started in the recession, and we kind of always said like, oh yeah, we started in the recession. We'll be fine if something happens. Another economic downturn. No, it's okay. We're cool. Yeah, didn't see this one coming. So, some more comments on the side here. Um, Lizette says, maybe you could look how it is going to be when you need funding for new production. There will be people who are going to invest in you. It's a really good point. A lot of what I do as a CEO, my role has changed over the years. I used to be an artist and a designer and a blogger, and now I am a CEO. One of my mentors described the CEO job as operations, so keeping the business running, and fundraising, finding the money for it. And that's not my I seem to be good at it, but it's not my strongest, like it's not something I enjoy doing. Like I don't love walking into banks and being like, please give me money. But in an inventory based business, that's a reality. So when we buy inventory, when we buy shoes, we're ordering thousands and thousands of pairs of shoes at one time, and the bill for that is massive. So even if I do have like a cash flow on a 6-month basis to pay for it, you usually don't have that much money all at once, like hundreds of thousands of dollars for buying shoes, like all at once. So I do have to, as you say, Lizette, look at how to raise money in the time after coronavirus. Absolutely. To reiterate what one of my mentors says on a regular basis is you want to put your funding in place before you need it. Because when you need it, it's like banks can smell when you're desperate. I mean, this is an extraordinary time because we are all quite desperate, and the banks are like, here you go. The government's like, here, have some money, which is awesome. But usually, if you need money, the banks are like, oh, you seem kind of risky, so we're not going to lend you anything. So you do want to put your funding in place before you actually need it. Rose says, sending you much love. Thank you so much. I appreciate all you've built with your hard work and expertise. Thank you. Thank you. These comments, they really make me feel good. They really do. Sarah says, feels like playing D&D with a roller coaster in the dark plot. Sometimes you have to roll the dice. That's a really good simile, a really good metaphor. Roll the dice. I love it. Oh my gosh. Oh my, lots of comments. Okay. Jalea, no one saw this coming. Absolutely. You are so right. Laurel, you guys are one of several dedicated companies that inspire us and bring us into the joy of historical costumery. and historical modern dress. We're here to support your hard work. Thank you. It's been a really wonderful journey since 2011 when we started doing shoes because I've seen so many companies, ours included, that have grown to produce goods for the historical costuming community. Shoes and jewelry and corset, like ready-made corsets, amazing, and fabric and all sorts of stuff to support this world of art that we have. And it is art. Historical costuming is art. And what makes me sad, one of the so many things that make me sad about what's going on right now is that art has been put on hold. Art has been removed for now. And I hope that art will come back. The theaters have closed, all the gig, everybody in New York who's a performer, everybody in San Francisco, they've lost all their gigs. So we have this absence of art in our world, and yet we persist. We're at home and we're sewing and we're sharing, our costumes on social media, and Danny Wellington is performing music on and DJ sets on social media, and we can join in on that remotely. Prior Attire is dressing up every day and taking a walk, and it's amazing. At least the costume constitutional is amazing. I know Carolina Zabrowska is doing a, what is her hashtag? It's get dressed every day, essentially, to help you feel better about the world that we live in right now, which is seemingly devoid of art. Like, it's poking through like daffodils in spring, and I love that, and I want to go back to a world with fantastic art. And so it warms my heart hugely. That's such a stupid thing to say, warms my heart. It makes me feel really good that we have a community that wants that too, that supports art. Okay. Wow, scrolling back up. We're having to be careful with money right now, but I'm going to chat with my husband and see if we can join your Patreon to keep supporting you during this messy time. Thank you. Thank you so much. It really, really helps. Alyssa says, will you consider selling more PDF patterns such as the cape that are available outside of Patreon? We've talked about doing patterns before. I can talk to the crew about selling them. We have the ability to do that on our website. We'll see. I'll talk to Chris about it too. Right now, all the PDF patterns that we've done are available on Patreon at the $20 tier. So if you join the $20 tier, you get all of them. And there's a post that has all of the links in it. So I think it's like 10 patterns right now, and we keep adding more. You did have a successful business, so I bet if they have the funds, the banks will give unto you. Subliminal Fish, like I said, we did get the PPP loan. I had done a consolidation loan with Umpqua Bank last fall. And so we have a good relationship with the bank, and we do have some funding sources. As a small business, especially a new one, if you guys have been in business for only about 2 years or less, it's really hard to get funding. Like, American Duchess operated with no funding of any kind for, let's see, 2011 to 2014. We had no outside funding from banks or anything. It was all done on pre-orders and reinvesting any kind of profit and reinvesting ourselves. There are more tools now. PayPal Working Capital, American Express they did anyway, of working capital loans. Cabbage, which isn't the best, but it's there for you if you need it. Not right now, but like we talked a little bit about lines of credit drying up. But it does pay to walk into the bank and talk to them, whoever your bank is, talk to them about options. If you've been in business for 2 years or less, they're going to go, well, you don't really have a track history. But once you kind of like break through that, and it is hard to break through that, and you start establishing business credit. It's like your own credit report for your personal, but it's business credit. So they look at, have you been lent to before? Do you default on your loans, that kind of thing? Then it does get easier. I promise you it gets easier. This time last year I was like sweaty and clammy walking into banks asking them for money, feeling like, well, that's never going to happen. And once I had actually just done it and successfully done it, now it's like, okay, I can do that again. If I need to, I can do that again. Another option in normal times is SBA, small business loans. I think they go up to 250,000, and going through that process is long and arduous, but the SBA loan that we did for American Duchess in 2014 absolutely changed the business completely. It completely changed it. We were able to level up in so many ways. So I do recommend that. There is funding available right now during this crisis. It in some ways is going to be harder, and in some ways it's going to be easier. But definitely go to sba.gov and look at the EIDL disaster loan and the PPP loans. Valerius says, I made so many changes after our last conversation where I focus more now on the joy of creating, which in return actually do that I make more art that will make me money. So thank you for that. Creating, I think right now, for so many of us, sewing is our solace, painting, drawing, gardening. There's so many things that we're at home, and just because we're at home does not mean our minds are calm. Mine is not calm. I couldn't even sleep last night. I'm like, oh my God, how are we going to survive this? And working at home, my dining table's got my computer on it. The lines are definitely blurred with, what day is it? It's okay to answer work emails at 10 p.m. on a Saturday, right? Like, I've kind of lost some structure in what is work time and what is alone time. Like filming YouTube videos on Sunday, like no big deal, but trying to keep that structure, I think, is important, and also trying to keep things to do for yourself to keep you sane. My thing is sewing. So many people's thing is sewing, historical costuming. I've been finishing UFOs, little quick wins that feel so good. Like I feel super accomplished because I finished a dress that's been in a bag for 4 years. Like, yes, this is great. I feel so good. Some people like digging in the dirt, gardening. That's a really good way. Baking, like lots of people are doing like quarantine baking right now. And that's the kind of thing that keeps you grounded, because you can just sort of check out from this craptastic world we live in right now and go and do something for you. And really, Valeria, like keeping those things, and your work is amazing, and I've been watching it on Instagram, keeping those things for yourself is really important for your mental health. Really important. Again, just because we're at home doesn't mean that we're calm or at peace. Go, kid. Can't say your name. Where did you go? Oh, I wish these comments wouldn't do this. Okay, I lost that comment because, YouTube. Okay, struggle, strife comes great innovation and artistic genius. I hope so. Patterns would be awesome. Foundation revealed has 1,000 enrollments a few days ago instead of their projected 400. That's amazing. People want to do and experience art right now. Absolutely, May. And down the line, all those folks will need special shoes. I hope we're still around when the time comes to go outside to your next events. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we are. Have you considered selling your books in PDF format, Beth? I'm considering buying them for quite a long time. So we don't control the distribution of our books. You can buy them in Kindle PDF form on Amazon, but we don't have the Kindle on our website. I don't even know how to do that. But we do sell the paper books, and we are shipping. Now, that being said, when we sell a book anywhere, they're distributed by Macmillan, so you can buy them in any major bookseller. When we sell a book, we get a really small royalty commission on it. But when we sell a book on our website, AmericanDuchess.com, we get the royalty commission. But we also, because we're reselling, we also get the markup. So we buy them for like, I don't know what they are, $12, and we sell them for 20. So we get that extra bit too. So if you are thinking of buying books, please buy them from our website. It really helps us, and we've got more on order because they have been selling out regularly, which is awesome. It is a great time to make millinery and gowns and hair products and hair cushions. Linda says, thank you, Lauren, for your insight on the ups and downs of owning a small business. Thank you for watching. I'm really flattered that 123 people are watching this. I really didn't think anybody would come watch me ramble. Would you be able to make a YouTube video about the fashion history of footwear? Yes, it's in the works. Absolutely. That way you could also showcase the shoes from American Duchess. It's funny, Katja, because we've been talking about doing that for so long. Like, we need to take every shoe. They kind of do this on Zappos. Every shoe and go, this is the shoe, and then talk about the history of it, which they don't do on Zappos. And we've been really crappy about YouTube, to be honest, because we've been so busy with so many other things. But now is definitely the time to do that. We also have shoe care videos and shoe stretching videos coming. I know Nicole has been working on those. Persist says, do I have to watch the ads all the way through? I don't think so. I think you can skip them. Books are on Amazon in other countries. Yes, that's true. Subliminal fish. I know SBA loans are a pain, but the low interest is nice. Very true. That's something I didn't really talk about. Interest rates are a thing. Interest rates are going to be really low right now. SBA normally has like a 6 to 8% interest rate on a 10-year note, 10-year loan. The PPP has a 1% interest rate. You only start paying on it in month 7. And if you use it to pay payroll, rent, and utilities, then it's a grant. You don't have to repay it. You're going to have to prove that, with your employment statements, that is what you spent the money on. So you just keep track of that stuff. But it's free money right now. Sarah, that would be awesome. At Katja, do them in stages and by decades. Okay, so that's talking about the shoe videos. Elizabeth says, my mind is a hamster in a wheel. Sometimes it's spinning, sometimes it stops, sometimes the wheel flings me off. I totally get that. I feel like my mind's a hamster in a washing machine right now. You looked so cute in that dress. Oh, thank you. Okay, so I think we're drawing somewhat to the end. Lizette says, maybe the future market will be in quality items that, in my opinion, would include your shoes simply because they last longer. Thank you. Even through this, we are still prototyping and trying to move our factories to Portugal from China so that we can produce even better, nicer shoes. We've done really well for a long time, and we've done really nice shoes, but there are good reasons to be moving. It's going to take some time, though. Just bought your books. Thank you. Just bought some Harriets that I wanted. I wish these comments would not jump around. Oh, gosh. I've lost it. Okay. Something about Harriets. Thank you. Harriets are actually my absolute favorite Royal Vintage shoes right now. I love them. They are so comfortable. Doreen says, I am thankful that I am still working and want to support you because I believe in your business. Thank you. I can't buy shoes right now. I understand. What I can and did do was join your Patreon group. Thank you. Thank you so much. I completely understand that shoes, expensive leather shoes right now are not at the top priority list of everybody. I get that. I really, really, really appreciate you supporting the Patreon. It really, really helps us. Autumn says, your hair looks pretty. And I like rambling. I have no one home but my pets. Thank you very much for that. It's the first day of a set, so it's a little bit fuzzy, but oh well, tomorrow will be better. Can't wait to see those shoe videos. Come to Tajikistan. There's no coronavirus. I would love to visit there someday when we can travel again. Right now, traveling is not a thing. Rose says, I would willingly pay to attend a video class with you and Abby going step by step through a project. Sometimes seeing a stitch in video and being able to ask questions, even on a small piece, is so nice. awesome idea. It takes a lot of time to do that. Most of our projects take like weeks to do, and also Abby and I are not together right now. But Rose, if you join our Patreon, we do videos on a monthly basis, Patreon only videos that cover all sorts of topics. And sometimes I know in the past we've done like cutting an 18th century bodice, like draping it on the body, other sewing related things that gets more into the meat of it. And you can ask questions live during those broadcasts as well. And also tell us, like, this is what I want to see. I want to see how you do the back pleats on an English gown. And one of us will go, okay, here's how you do it, and talk about it. Timing is perfect. What are the current realities of producing shoes in the US? It is currently not a reality for us. I get this question a lot over the years. I've been in business almost for 10 years at this point. Every year we look at manufacturing women's heel shoes in the US, and I never, ever, ever have any success finding a factory that will do it. We make a really unique product. We make it in really small quantities. And if you can find a factory at all that's making for what we call OEM, it's making for companies and brands that are not their own, then they want really huge quantities. Also, the price is really high, of course, but the quality is not necessarily equivalent to the price, which is the biggest problem. So I really don't think that people want to pay $600 for a pair of plastic shoes that fall apart. But we are exploring options elsewhere. Our number one right now is Portugal. Spain also has footwear manufacture, and Mexico has leather shoe manufacturing. There are other options in the world. The world is changing, obviously, really fast. And so we're trying to keep up on all of those changes to continue producing really, really cool stuff in really high quality. Sarah says, as someone with wide, painful feet, the video about shoe stretching would let me try your shoes. So I'd love that video. It's going to be a good one, Sarah, because Nicole stretched a pair of our shoes to an E width using shoe stretch and a shoe stretcher the kind that you like crank, which is stunning. That they will stretch. I promise you. That's one of the joys of real leather is it's very, very flexible. Patricia says, Portugal, our shoe industry has a long history. Always love to buy made in Portugal shoes and supporting the local economy. We were there in February. I love Portugal, and the people that we met in the factories we visited were awesome. So I cannot wait to get started with them. Hopefully that will be soon. One of them is doing prototyping. The other is closed, obviously, because of the pandemic. But one of them is doing prototyping, and I really hope we can get an order in with them for shoes arriving in the fall. We'll see. Love your curl video. Have no idea your hair is straight. Oh my God, Mirage, my hair is like stick straight, and like I look like a wet dog. If I just let it dry, it's just like, so yeah. Glad you found the video helpful. Pink girls are awesome. I love them. What lipstick am I wearing? It is ColourPop. Deadly Red, I think it's called. I love ColourPop. There's my favorite lipstick. And the stuff like will not come off. Even if I just wipe it off with a tissue, like it's still there. It's really long lasting and fabulous. I highly recommend. Thank you for your honesty and frankness. This is why I'm so happy to support you. Thank you so much for listening. Again, I can't believe like so many people have come to this. It makes me feel really good. Is there some good shoemakers in Mexico? Elizabeth, there are a lot of good shoemakers in Mexico. They have a long tradition, similar to Europe, of leather boot manufacturing specifically. It's just a little bit harder to get in contact with them. So it's at some point, probably, if we do decide to source in Mexico, it'll be our team going down to Mexico, because nothing compares to actually going and seeing and meeting people in person and going for yourself. That establishes a relationship very quickly. And it also lets us avoid pitfalls like, oh, so you don't actually have a factory. That was all a lie. Oh, you've stolen a bunch of our money. Great. True story. Yeah, still dealing with that right now. Sarah says, because I know that producing wide is risky and low return for you. Yes, wide shoes, especially with really small quantities, it's hugely expensive. We end up not making enough money to support doing like another run of wide shoes. So it's difficult. Again, things change, and smaller quantities seem to be becoming more available to be able to manufacture 50 or 100 of something instead of 200 or 500 of something. And so with that landscape changing, possibilities open up. I'm not sure what they're going to be in the future, but it's my job to keep on top of those things. Just ordered a bottle of Lotta Body, Marley's. Awesome. I love that stuff. You're going to love it too. It's really, really wonderful. Oh my. Oh, okay. Yeah, Tajikistan again. Okay. Oh, recommendation for La Antigua, Guatemala. Yeah, Guatemala, Rose, is one of the like shoemaking regions. And shoemaking is, as an industry, is interesting because it's not just the factory that makes the shoes, it's all of the other stuff that goes into shoes. So leather, heels, heel mold makers, components, things like eyelets and shoelaces, like all that stuff kind of has to be together. So when you find shoe regions or shoe towns, you have the whole industry there to support that, to support the product that's being made. So Guatemala is one of those areas. The area in Avira, the area in Portugal that we went to, is also, and in Hojie, where our shoes used to be made in China, is another one of those regions. Lady Dragonbane, do you know when EasyPay will be back? Good question. We are upgrading the website and EasyPay. So EasyPay used to be, you would sign up for EasyPay, and then we would like take your shoes and put them on another shelf while you paid the EasyPay, and then we would send them to you. The new system is going to be, you sign up for the EasyPay, we send you your shoes, and that's it. We had so many problems with inventory and like losing things and overselling. The new system is handled by what I guess you could call a broker. Any number of companies that do this kind of layaway thing. A firm, I think, is one of them. I don't know the names of the others, where it's basically like a credit agency. But in order to set up those kinds of relationships with a firm, we have to have our website, our new website, running for I think 3 or 4 months before we can get that service. So we haven't upgraded the website yet. I promise it's going to be awesome. It just hasn't happened quite yet. It's a very big job for Chris. But once that's done, about 4 months on, then we'll have the layaway option back again, and it will be so much better because you'll get your shoes immediately rather than having to wait for like 3 weeks, 3 months to get your shoes, and then us going, oh my god, where did I put that red pair of Maria's? And Kate says, love the pink curl video. My hair is yes, thank you. I'm so glad it was helpful. I feel kind of like I was rambling about like, this is how I do my hair, and I'm like definitely not a pinup model, so I'm glad it was useful. Liana says, how about a video on keeping your foot in a shoe slightly too big? I have Tissot's and an 11 because I'm a 10.5. Any advice? We have some foot pedals, so they're inserts that you stick in the shoe, different parts of the shoe that take up the space. That is the best way to keep a shoe on that's a little bit too big. Obviously, you can't shrink the shoe the way that you can stretch the shoe if it's too small. So inserts are going to be the thing there. Okay, wow, tons of comments. Catherine says, fall is perfect for Portuguese shoes because that's when I will be able to purchase. Well, hopefully we have some really cool stuff coming for you in fall. Just trying to stay on top of that right now. Did I hear you'll be doing wide shoes? Duchess of Cloth. You did not hear that we're doing wide shoes. You heard that Nicole has done a video that will be coming out soon about stretching our shoes, as she was able to stretch a pair of our shoes, which are B width, to E width using shoe stretch and a shoe stretcher. And that's amazing. Atelier Nostalgia, hello. Joining all the others and thanking you for your openness. It's good to know what's going on with the companies we love. We'll definitely look into upping my Patreon. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think it's really, 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 really big companies, like billion-dollar companies. Some of them are making statements right now, but I think a lot of the little guys, and we're like a micro business, we're like this big. It's hard for us to make statements like this. We don't want to necessarily show our vulnerabilities and insecurities. We don't want to scare people. We don't want to be too negative about things, but maybe that's doing a disservice in the community because it's important that you know that we're not okay. And it's also important that you know that we are so thankful, truly, truly thankful for every order that we get and every Patreon subscriber and every nice comment and every subscribe and every follow. Really, it does not matter to the billion-dollar company if you follow them on Instagram, but it definitely matters to us. So thank you for that. Thank you for following us. Okay, looks like my comments have gotten, whoop, nope, they're back. Oh, wow, these are all over the place. Okay, I'm not going to be able to answer all of these. Somebody says I look European. Thank you. That's a huge compliment. I'm in Reno, Nevada, so I'm definitely not European, as you can tell by my horrible accent. The school for me says my foot grew half an inch. Is that normal? Actually, yeah. Your feet are weird. They change throughout your life. They change based on the shoes that you wear or don't wear. In this case, if you have had a baby, then your feet are probably bigger and wider than they used to be. It is really common, so don't worry about it too much. Hello from Quebec. Hello. The reenactment community here is huge, and your shoes are very appreciated, and we appreciate you too. I love all you guys in Quebec. We have some of you guys, especially when you call, like the Quebecois that call us. I love talking to you guys. You're so nice. Timing is perfect. Now, when you say quantity 200, is that per shoe per size? So expensive that would be. No, it's total. So 200 for the style and the color is how we've been doing it, how we've had to do it before. So if I order 200 pair of Kensingtons in red, I can break down the sizes within that, and we have a curve for that. What I would prefer to move to is smaller quantities or split colorways that we can just sort of like reorder on a constant basis as needed would be better for us. But that is difficult for manufacturing to do. And so it's sort of like I might not be able to have the cake and eat it too, but that's what we're trying to move towards. Don't know what your plans are for men's shoes, but a reliable source for 18th century men's rough out latchet shoes is much needed. There are companies that offer rough out latchet shoes right now. Burnley and Trowbridge and Fugawee offer those. American Duchess, we make really nice, more formal shoes. Comfortable, lined, lovely shoes. We have never really done all that well with rough shoes that are heavy or thick or coarse. So as always, we'll take the suggestion and put it to a poll and ask you guys what you want. We do definitely plan to expand the men's line, but it's going to come down to if that is what the majority of people want in the polling. All right, I think I'm caught up on comments. More keep coming. Okay. Sherry says you have a Patreon. Yep, we have a Patreon, American Duchess. Good stuff on there. Just ordered the book. Thank you, Calliope. How come Al Bundy never suggested a shoe stretcher at his shoe store? I don't know, man. I'm going to wrap this up now. We've gone for about an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you so much for supporting us, for watching me ramble on about business stuff. I hope I said some things that help or at least shed some light. If you're a small business owner, you can email or comment or anywhere, Instagram, Facebook, in the comments here on YouTube after this video is saved on the YouTube channel, and I'll try to answer everything. I'm open book on this because we are all going through it. I've done some things that I feel have really helped us and could possibly help you too, depending on your situation. And I want to be here for you guys the way that you're here for us. So thank you so much for coming, and here's hoping things will get better soon.